and I'd like to welcome everyone to this meeting to discuss 2025 repaving in Mount Vernon District. Before we begin, I'd just like to review some guidelines so that everyone can participate and get the most out of this session. Just a note that this meeting is being recorded and will be posted on YouTube and also linked to the project webpage. Microsoft Teams does offer a live captioning service, and you can find that by clicking the three dots and choosing Turn on Live Captions. Once the presentation is completed, we will begin the question and answer portion, during which participants can ask questions aloud. The chat feature has been disabled for this meeting, so we will not be taking written questions. I don't think we have anyone on the phone, but just in case, just hold your questions until the end, and we'll have instructions on how to ask questions by phone at the conclusion of the presentation. Before we begin, I'd like to introduce Diego Rodriguez Cabrera, who is with us from Supervisor Stork's office. And then we also have our presenter here from the Virginia Department of Transportation, Huda Ali, who is the Transportation and Land Use Director for Southern Fairfax County. Huda from VDOT will begin with a presentation on VDOT's repaving program. FCDOT did not find any opportunities in Mount Vernon District to add crosswalks or bike lanes this year, so we do not have a presentation for tonight, but as I mentioned, we will open up the floor for questions after Huda's presentation. With that, I will turn it over to Huda. Oh, you're still muted, Huda.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Hannah. Do you all see the slides on the screen?
Yes.
All right, great. So I'm going to do the VDOT, present the VDOT program for this year. On tonight's agenda, we'll be discussing the statewide lane mile inventory and the lane mile inventory for Northern Virginia District. The planning and construction phases of the paving schedule. We'll also go over the process of how roads get selected for paving and how the pavement condition is determined using the CCI rating system. Also present information about our dashboard and pavement condition targets, the various type of pavement treatments, this year's budget, and the different types of pavement markings and striping before. Oh, well, it used to be transitioned to the county's presentation, but I understand the county is not presenting tonight. So as you can see here, Nova District has over 14,000 lane miles. To put that in perspective, it is equivalent to the distance going to the West Coast and back 2.5 times. The actual number actually is higher as this number does not include the mileage for ramps and many of the recently added roads. This slide shows the breakdown of lane miles for our district. As you can see, over half of the mileage is in Fairfax County alone. The other half is almost a 50-50 split between Loudoun County and Prince William County, with only 2% in Arlington County, where VDOT only maintains interstate and primary roads, and the county maintains their own secondary streets. The construction aspect of paving is a seasonal process and takes place during the warmer weather month of spring to early fall. However, the planning process is a year-round activity. The process starts in spring going into summer with data collection for the next season. Over the summer into the fall, we start analyzing the data, determine how much need is there compared to available funds, and prepare schedules and coordinate with central office and other stakeholders. Then in winter, we close out previous contracts, put out new contracts for bids, award and execute the new contracts by February, March of each year. So how do we select roads for paving? This is a question we get quite often. VDOT identifies which roads are selected for paving by using a rating system called the Critical Condition Index, CCI. which ranges from 0 for very poor to 100 for excellent condition. The process is generally data-driven and based on several factors. So payment condition using CCI ratings, traffic volumes, and avoiding locations in conflict with VDOT and locality projects, avoiding locations where underground utilities projects are planned, grouping projects for economies of scales. And what that means is when we consider the entire neighborhood, when we have a main street within the neighborhood selected for paving, that is to achieve efficiency in contractor mobilization. We also receive feedback from our maintenance crews who are most familiar with the roads in their areas. The planning process, it starts with collecting the data. We have contractors that drive roads using high-tech vans, which can automatically analyze the detected pavement condition in terms of distress, texture, or roughness, using GPS, cameras, and scanners to measure things like crack size and distance between cracks and others to determine the pavement condition. The frequency of data collection depends on the type of roadway. Data is collected annually for interstate primaries and high volume secondaries with average annual daily traffic higher than 3,500 vehicles per day. For low volume secondary roads below 3,500 vehicles per day, and those are the ones with route numbers of 600 or higher, and make the majority of lane mile, including the residential street. For those, we do 20% every year with the goal to cover the full mile inventory every 5 years. Once the payment condition data is collected and analyzed, it gets translated into a rating on a scale from 0 being worst to 100 being best, like in the case of a new road. The rating system we use is called CCI, which stands for Critical Condition Index. We focus on very poor and poor roads with sufficiency ratings below 60 CCI. We do not pave roads with ratings higher than 60 CCI. Pavement conditions and targets. The pavement condition targets are decided based on the type of roads. The 2024 set targets for this year are shown in green in the square at the bottom. For interstate high volume primaries and high volume secondaries, our goal is to have 82% of the network at a 60 CCI rating or above. For low volume primaries, we have a target of 75%. And for low volume secondary roads, the target is 60%. This data is also used to inform budget allocation decisions. On this slide, you see a screen capture of the VDOT payment condition map. In general, there are two main types of treatments. Preventive maintenance treatment, where we try to extend the life of pavement by applying slurry seal. We also do limited patching and crack seal. Candidate roads are typically not in poor condition and have CCI rating of 60 or above. In regard to corrective maintenance, we do mill and overlay 2-inch most commonly, and up to 4-inch depending on the road condition. This treatment is most common and targets roads in poor condition. In rare occasions, we may have to replace the pavement to full width, to full depth, and rebuild the road. Roads targeted with this type of treatment are typically very old and built to old standards. Each year, our district receives a set amount of budget dollars. The emphasis for this year are the budget this year is lower than last year, as you can see from the bottom row. on the schedule. There is a shift of funds towards primaries and secondaries while still providing a healthy budget towards interstate compared to last year's, which correlates to the 2024 paving condition. Also note the change in budget and the downward trend in lane miles paved as a result, and the downward trend in cost per mile lane. So what that means is we are not able to pave as much as we did in prior years due to the lower budget. However, because of the lower cost per lane mile, we're able to stretch our dollars further to pave a little more this year. Our VDOT infrastructure and maintenance teams have determined that about 43% of our low volume secondary roads have combined critical index ratings in the 30s and 40s, including indicating very poor condition, and are due for repaving. At current funding levels, we pave about 6% of the road network each year. Nova District continues to work diligently to catch up on paving roads across Northern Virginia. Until the roads are ultimately repaved, the maintenance team will continue to monitor and treat roads for emergencies and safety-related issues such as potholes and needed patching. We wanted to note this online resource that is available to the public where they can access and learn if the road is getting paved this year and track progress as well. This year's paving map is now available for public access. It shows the roads planned for repaving in red. As the paving season progresses, you will see different colors starting to pop up. This is an interactive map where you can enter your address in the search function to find out if your street is getting paved this year. If you click on the colored line on the road, a box will pop up and you will be able to see project details and the direct contact information for the VDOT construction manager, who can be contacted directly to get additional information and to answer any questions. VDOT restripe most commonly to replace in kind as in put back what was existing before we mill and repave the road. We may occasionally restripe to address a traffic condition or like extending a turn lane, for example, and to enhance safety and operations. We also take the repaving opportunity to collaborate with the county to implement new marking patterns if existing pavement widths allow, to enhance on-road bike routes, and to add new crosswalks where feasible to improve pedestrian safety. This last slide contains helpful information on how to report a road problem. With that, I end my presentation. Thank you for the opportunity to speak about the STEEP program, and I'll turn it over back to Hannah. Thank you.
Thank you, Huda. So as I mentioned, the county did not find any opportunities to add striping improvements in terms of bike lanes or crosswalks in Mount Vernon district this year. So we do not have a presentation for tonight, but we will open up the floor to questions at this point, and I'll just run through a few instructions on how to do that. So you can ask your question verbally by raising your virtual hand, which is located at the top of your screen next to the three dots. And I will go ahead and enable your microphone and call on you to ask your question. At that point, you'll still need to unmute yourself when your name is called to ask your question or provide your comment. And please mute yourself again after you've asked your question. And if we do have anyone who's calling in from the phone, you'll just need to press *5 to raise your hand when I call on you, and then press *6 to unmute yourself. And then once you've finished, just press *6 to mute yourself again. And again, we will not be taking questions via the chat tonight. So with that, I'll open up the floor to any questions for Huda or for Me. We'll start with Matt. Let me enable your mic. All right, you should be able to
Good
unmute
evening.
yourself now.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Hi.
Great. Thanks for the presentation tonight. I appreciate the information. I was calling to voice my support for the Huntington Avenue bike lanes. So I am kind of disappointed to hear that's not being considered. And I'd just like to ask if that was a VDOT decision, a FCDOT decision, and what were kind of the reasons behind not moving forward with the bike lanes there?
Sure. Yeah, thank you. I will let Huda speak to that.
Yes, thank you, Matt, for your question. So basically, it was a VDOT decision. However, so generally, when we get a request for a road diet, we look into two factors. We look at the traffic operational analysis, and then we look at the scope of the changes to see if they fit with the paving schedule, because the paving program has a very limited scope. It's just mainly focused on mill and overlay, and then restripe, mostly in kind. But in some occasions, we're able to accommodate additional, requests like road diets or bike lanes or crosswalks if we're able to make it work under the program. For this specific request, we received it, I believe this road was identified for repaving in early 2023. And then we learned of the county desire to add the road on-road bike lanes. So we deferred the repaving of the road to the next year, 2024, to allow time for the county to do the traffic operation analysis, which is a requirement. And I mean, I would say until today, we don't really have a complete analysis done for these roadways. Some of the things we're lacking in the analysis were like um, the determination of the future impacts on the congestion on these roadways. There were other factors that were not also taken into consideration. Things like um, couple of developments that's been on the county comprehensive plans and the impacts on future traffic were not analyzed in this study. It's also, there was a proposal to remove a left turn lane from a dual left from Route 1 into Huntington Avenue. Those are also the current traffic volumes actually weren't or show demand for these two left lanes. So the current study did not show how this is going to be mitigated. And in terms of the scope also, there were some extensive changes that were well beyond the scope of the repaving, including traffic signal modifications, the removal of the left turn from Route 1, which is well outside the paving limits, and so many other factors. I mean, if you like, I can mention more, but that's mainly the reason why we could not include it in the repaving program. However, for the road diet not to be able to accommodate it with the repaving program doesn't mean it cannot be done. We actually encourage the county to do it under a capital improvement project where there a proper study needs to be done, and then of course the road diet needs to be designed and implemented, but that takes time, and it would not fit with the limited scope of the paving and the limited schedule as well, because the paving program only runs from March and needs to be completed by 1st of November. So that's also raise a challenge for this type of projects.
Thanks for the response. I understand that there's the decision that it's kind of on a limited time frame. I just would definitely support any changes like this in the future for safety for people that are not in a car. I think people would be more comfortable biking in the neighborhood, walking to the metro station, et cetera. So I'd like to see the changes in the future. Thank you.
Understandable.
All right, thank you. We will move to Greg next. You should be able to unmute yourself now, Greg. If you're talking, we're unable to hear you. You'll still need to unmute yourself, but I did enable your microphone. Let me try one more time. Are you able to unmute yourself now? Still not hearing anything. Do we have any other questions or comments in the meantime? We can go to Jonathan. I've just allowed your microphone, so you'll be able to unmute. Oh, I think Greg, you might be talking.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, sorry. This technology is all new to me. Somehow I found the mic somewhere else. Anyway, my question is basically, you talk about the map and that you can click on it and see where the roads are that they're scheduled for paving. Do you have the link for that map? Where we can find it?
If you do a Google search for VDOT 2025 paving status map, you should be able to get to it.
Okay, so that should be on the same website that the meeting was listed on.
I'm not sure. Hannah, do you have a link to that map on your website?
I believe we do. I'm just double checking.
Yeah. But you can also, on Google search, you can also find it there.
Yeah, and I can send you an email with the link as well, Greg. This is Diego from Supervisor Stark's office.
Okay. Thank you,
Thank you,
Diego.
Diego.
Of course.
Thank you.
All right, that's all I had.
And yes, we do have it linked on the county's website as well.
Okay, I wasn't sure it was up the other day. Yeah,
Okay,
thank you.
thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right, we can go to Jonathan next.
You can hear me?
Yes.
It was basically the same question. I'm looking for a website of which roads are being done. I've been poking around and without success.
I'm just searching it right now. I'll go ahead and give you the exact link if you'd like to write it down.
That's my question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so if you go to virginiaroads.org/datasets/statewide paving status. Actually, I'll just go ahead and share my screen really quickly. It's just right up here, but it should also be posted to the Fairfax County Department of Transportation website. And if it's not, I'll make sure they have it linked there tomorrow. All right. Do we have any additional questions? If not, I think we can go ahead and wrap up for tonight. Thank you again, everyone, for joining. If you'd like more information on the repaving program, or you would like to review any of our other proposed striping projects for other districts, you can visit our webpage at www.fairfaxcounty.gov/transportation/2025-paving-restriping-program. This concludes our meeting on the 2025 repaving program. A recording of this meeting will be available on the project web page on FCDOT's website in the next day or so. Thank you again for joining us tonight, and we really appreciate your time and participation.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Thank you, everyone.